Hello and welcome to PubShorts episode 87, titled Watching.
87, good Lord. How can it be 87 already? It's just flown past.
Yeah. It just feels like we started it yesterday, but we have 87 episodes already.
I had a
This,
full head of hair when we started.
which we need to factually verify. We will do that. So this is titled "Watching the Detectives,"
Yeah.
inspired by a song that I'm not too familiar with, but I'll let Tony explain further.
Oh, then you are missing such a lot. I mean, a lot of the songs that we've referenced in these
Yeah,
episodes, I've been a little bit ambivalent by.
yeah.
But I love the music of Elvis Costello. And
Okay,
Elvis Costello, for me, I think is just as important as someone like the Beatles or Rolling Stones in terms of
right.
the quality of the songs he's written. He's written some fantastic music. He's had 34 solo albums in his career. 34.
Hmm.
And they're all quality. Anyway, back to this episode.
Yes.
Why are we call it?
No.
Why are we call it?
Before that, my name is Dr. KK. I'm the innovation officer. And Tony, please introduce yourself and why we are calling it based on a
Uh,
Elvis
I
Costello
was,
song.
I was about to say my name is Elvis Costello, but it's not. So my name is Tony O'Rourke, and I'm Vice President for Partnerships. And welcome to PubShorts, which is a regular episodic podcast which KK and I record, where we discuss different topics relating to scholarly publishing. That can be the introduction of the growing influence of technology on AI, for example, or US policy, or any aspects relating to the world of research that we monitor in the world scientific press.
Hmm. And do you want to connect this to the song and the song title?
Yeah, I do. So again, for those of you who haven't watched an episode of podcast before, what KK and I are both mildly music obsessed, I think is a nice way of describing it.
I would challenge the adverb there.
Yeah, okay. Well, I was just understating the level of obsession
Yeah.
that I have. And we like to give every episode of Pub Shorts a theme, so that we pick topics that are relating to a particular theme. And this week's theme is, and what we also like to link it to a pop song, a song, and not just any song, a song by a British act, performer, whatever. So this week we've named this particular episode "Watching the Detectives," which I referred to earlier. And "Watching the Detectives" was a song by the wonderful Elvis Costello. It was released. I still had hair when it was released. Second time I've referenced my hair in this episode. Back in
1977.
1977. I was still at school. Um, and it's a great song. But the reason why we're calling it "Watching the Detectives" is that this episode turns a critical eye on the hidden mechanics of modern peer review, from stealth AI prompts masquerading as human feedback in frameworks, aiming to bring true accountability. And we play detective to uncover how automated tools both aid and undermine a scientific evaluation process. And I would also say that, publishers are increasingly having to acquire detective skills,
Hmm.
becoming sleuth and identifying, bad actors, and identifying plagiarism, identifying the use of paper mills, and identifying excessive use of AI.
Right.
So there's a number of reasons why we're calling this episode "Watching the Detectives," because publishing is increasingly becoming a detective role
Excellent intro.
task.
Thank you, Tony. So let's start with the first story, and it is a judge ruling regarding AI licensing, which is something that we have talked about in the past. And I'm shifting to my screen. So this is from 404 Media, titled "Judge Rules Training AI on Authors' Books is Legal, but Pirating Them is Not." So this is from one of the federal judges, and the case involves Anthropic, which is basically known for its large language model chatbot Claude, a company that used pirated books to train their AI models. The judge found that the use of copyrighted books for AI training was transformative fair use. However, obtaining the books through piracy was deemed illegal, and there are several authors of the books who have filed the lawsuit. And Anthropic downloaded the books from piracy sites like LibGen, Pirate Library Mirror, etc. And the legal decision is part of a larger wave of lawsuits against AI companies by authors and artists. So it sounds like the right judgment in terms of the what AI companies can use in terms of using some data. But obviously, we are not endorsing the fact that the books were or the information in the books, intellectual property belonging to authors, was pirated. But this also emphasizes the need for AI guardrails in terms of making solutions, right, Tony?
Yeah, I couldn't say it better myself. what we're going to find, and I think we're going to talk about this in a later article, is that there's going to be so many law cases
Yeah.
over the next 3 to 5 years in terms of testing what is permissible, what is allowed, what is fair use. I mean, in when I worked in publishing, I was quite involved in some of the early exercises around identifying the use of text and data mining, and what's legitimate, what's not legitimate. This is
Right.
pre-AI, back in the noughties. Um, and you know, governments, ministries for trade and education, or media and education, whatever it was, the UK government at the time, were very keen to understand, where its own position,
Right.
and the publishing industry was clearly wanted to make sure that there's the rights of the publishers are being protected. So we're going to see a lot of these
Right.
cases coming up over the next few years.
And we do have two related news stories. The first one is from Silicon Republic. It's a business article titled Authors Take Microsoft to Court in Yet Another AI versus Copyright Battle. So, the authors have claimed that Microsoft used copyrighted works for AI training. And plaintiffs include Pulitzer winning author Kai Bird. And Microsoft allegedly used 200,000 works without permission, similar to what we just discussed with Anthropic and Claude.
Yeah,
And the
yeah,
lawsuit seeks up to US dollars 150,000 per violated work. And the recent rulings favor big tech in similar cases, as we just saw. And Meta's use of copyrighted works was deemed as fair use. So it's an interesting case, but again, we have to re-emphasize or reiterate the fact that if we are a company, Tony, we are a company with a Trinka AI system that builds AI products, and we strictly adhere to AI guardrails in terms of valuing the intellectual copyright or intellectual property rights of the content that we receive from our customers, that include publishers as well. And that is one of the reasons why publishers prefer to work with us.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, there was one thing about Meta's use of copyrighted works was deemed as fair use. I mean, I haven't seen that ruling, but it is important. And as I said, we're going to see so much of this over the coming months and years.
Yeah.
This is just another example of where the two sides are taking a very entrenched position.
Yeah, I mean, to just add here, the article states that it was Meta's use was also considered transformative in the sense that it is not the how the information was procured, which is again, I think Meta also did this using pirated books and pirated sites, but the use, whatever the end use case, is transformative and does not violate intellectual property rights, is what this judge's ruling is. So, Tony, moving on to the last one. This is a Scholarly Kitchen article, and this is to contextualize whatever we've been talking about. This is titled Ask the Chefs, the New Code Decisions Issued in Cases Addressing AI Training and Copyright. So, these insights are from the authors, as you can see, Roy Kaufman, Rick Anderson, and Todd Carpenters. All have strong voices in the field of research integrity, IP right, copyright, IP, etc. And they offer multiple perspectives. So Roy emphasizes the importance of collaboration and licensing to advance AI. And Rick agrees with the court's distinction between fair and unfair use in terms of transformative versus not. And Todd sees these initial rulings as the beginnings of a long legal journey. As you rightly said, Tony, that we are expecting at least another decade of such lawsuits until we get to a place where we understand how things are going to go and how the cards are going to play out.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, I mentioned the text and data mining initiatives from years ago. That even some of those are still tied
Yeah.
up in court, and that was from 15 years ago.
Right. Right. All right. So moving on to the next point. Next article. This is a Nature news article titled Does Using ChatGPT Change Your Brain Activity? Study Sparks Debate. So I think we've covered related the original story for this. But this is the author is debating whether the facts stated or the outcomes or the implications are too exaggerated. So the study suggested that less brain engagement was seen when ChatGPT was used to write essays by students compared to not using any such tools. And it involved 60 students and measured brain activity using electroencephalography. And findings showed less connectivity in the brains using ChatGPT compared to those who did not use any tools, suggesting that ChatGPT use is bad in the context of education, which there's partial truth in there. But researchers like the author caution against over interpretation of these results because the study sample size was very small, and there is concern that AI might make us cognitively lazy, but we don't have any gold standard evidence yet. So some educational experts see potential for AI as personalized learning tools, and we will see soon in a story, not in this episode, where we have Anthropic. We just discussed Anthropic. Anthropic is already making AI for education as well, and many universities are signing up to have their models, like how ChatGPT was also entering higher education in the US. So your thoughts on it, Tony?
Uh, I suppose my thoughts are, I'm not surprised. In fact, I was discussing this article with my daughter when I read it a
Mm-hmm.
couple of days ago. She's a psychologist. She's not surprised either. The brain is a mysterious thing. I think what we're going to find is that, as tools like ChatGPT and Gen AI develop and become an increasing part of our life, the way we learn and how we use our brain is also going to change. So it's going to be less about the composition, more about the analysis, the thinking behind it.
Right.
And we find out other parts of our brain will develop at the same time. So I think, in its own right, it's I think it's a fair assessment that
Mm-hmm.
the brain works in a different way when somebody's using ChatGPT compared to when they don't. But how is that person then using that
Yep.
information and converting it into an analysis?
Right, right. And you mentioned two things, how we learn and how we interpret, I think. And the third thing is how we teach, and that is also being changed by
Yeah,
ChatGPT. So this is another article from the Associate Press, how ChatGPT and other AI tools are changing the teaching profession, which is quite profound, because Tony, you've met so many representatives from so many institutions. You probably are still meeting them, and we've had so many conversations with academic subject matter experts in terms of the challenges they are facing when
yeah,
with the advent of AI. So let me just
it's
narrate some of the points, and then I'll let you speak. So we this is written by, I think, a math teacher, if I'm not mistaken. Sorry, it was written about many teachers. So one math teacher uses ChatGPT to design a geometry lesson around soccer, and so this is an example of how you can use AI to sort of enhance the learning experience, at least from a student point of view. And AI also is helping teachers create quizzes, design lessons, and grade papers, saving a lot of time. And 6 in 10 of teachers in the US have used AI tools in the past school year. And AI tools help alleviate teacher burnout, saving about 6 hours a week, as per this article. And guidelines are being issued for AI use in classrooms to avoid misuse, and we are
yeah,
strongly for those.
yeah,
And
yeah,
teachers find AI best used sparingly and not to replace human judgment. And
yeah.
students are taught to use AI effectively without becoming overly reliant on it. All the the golden principles of how one should use AI in the context of human assistance.
Yeah.
And Tony, I mean, I've already explained. We've had conversations with educational institutions, and there is a distinct thread in terms of how students are using AI and how AI content detection is not quite helping solve the problem, because we are trying to ensure that the students have learning outcomes from whatever that they're doing, and we have developed a technology called DocuMark, which is of extremely great interest to a lot of educational institutions right now. And what are your thoughts on this? I mean, we know that teachers are using AI, and AI can be beneficial, but we still need to have the right sort of implementation of AI
Oh yeah,
assistance.
I think the article makes a lot of sense. If you can have guardrails about how students are using AI, and tools like DocuMark, as you say, can help to monitor and manage the use of AI. There should also be guardrails for teachers in terms of what's legitimate, what's fair use,
Right.
what's good use. If too much use of AI is being implemented, why have a teacher in the first place?
Right.
But that said, my son's a teacher, and he uses from time to time AI to help things like lesson planning.
Right.
And he finds it extraordinarily useful because he can spend more time on marking and advising the kids, and less time on the kind of the sometimes quite mechanical process of planning a lesson.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
So the guardrails and guardrails like DocuMarker, I think, are a very important
Hmm.
marker.
And Tony, if a publisher is watching us talk about this, where can they find more about DocuMark?
Well, okay, so let's be clear. So DocuMark
Sorry.
is is aimed at anyone who needs to be able to assess how content is being created. So, what DocuMark will tell you is how much content is being generated physically by the author, how much of it's been plagiarized or copied and pasted from another source, and how much of it's been generated by Gen AI. So, if you're an academic institution and you set rules and say, okay, look, I want no more than 10% of this content can be generated by AI.
Hmm.
DocuMark will help identify, how much that content has been generated by AI.
Right.
If you're a publisher and you'd like to find out more how DocuMark can be used to assess your own content, then you just simply need to search for DocuMark on the inago.com site or contact me directly
Yeah.
at tonio@inago.com.
Excellent. Thank you. I did, even though I did say publisher, I meant somebody from the audience, and could be from an educational institution or a teacher as
Well,
well.
particular
Yeah.
DocuMark is particularly aimed at
Yeah.
the education institution.
Yeah, excellent. Thanks for the clarification. And I'm moving on to the next story. This is a Nature News article titled Wake Up Call for AI Computer Vision Research, which is being increasingly used for surveillance, which is a matter of concern. So, 90% of the studies involve in the computer vision research involve human-related information data, and the one of the authors that has quoted calls for ethical considerations in AI development. Many patents from computer vision research are used in surveillance tech, which is also increasingly, with the rise of, like, I would say, the states like Israel and the US, and also China, to be fair. And criticism arises over biases and errors in AI surveillance systems, and keyword analysis reveal increased use of surveillance-related terms in research papers as well. So, Tony, you and I have talked about the use of technology for identity verification, which is in demand, at least at the publisher side of things, because there are too many articles with potentially dubious authors that we need to screen for, and to ensure that the author is who they claim to be. And we can also call this technology know your author. So what do you think about the entire thing? I mean, would this computer vision related technology develop, and would it also help in identifying from a publisher point of view if the submitting author is indeed who they claim to be?
I don't know is the honest answer to that. There are many ways of identifying the author, whether they've got how many ORCIDs they've got, using the OpenAlex database to try and isolate the name of the author. There's a lot, and I know there was an article this week in the Scholarly Kitchen about,
Mm-hmm.
how disambiguation, the fact it can't be reliant on one tool.
Yep.
So I think that the whole process is extremely important.
Right.
Particularly to try to identify bad actors, people who are claiming that to be someone that they're not. And we're seeing that increasingly in scholarly publishing, particularly, when authors are submitting papers that include better known authors who just don't exist.
Right.
So there has to be tools in place that are reliable, that are robust, that will help the author, the publisher, to make sure that the author is who they say they are.
Excellent, thank you. So this one, the feature that will help a publisher identify if the author is genuine or not, is being developed and will be added to a research integrity suite under Inago Reports. And if you are interested in knowing more about Inago Reports, you can search for Inago Reports or go to trinka.ai and find out more about it. All the different categories of checks have been listed there, and we recently added 8 research integrity checks, which you can find out more about in the press release that we just released, which also includes detection of references, in the sense of if a study has cited references which are retracted, and if those papers themselves have cited retracted papers, those functionalities are currently available, along with detection for tortured phrases. So if you're interested in any of this, please visit our website and check for Inago Reports, and as well as read the related press release. Anything else, Tony, you would like to add to
No,
this?
I think the ad break is now over.
All right. Okay, the last main story that we have is it's titled "Emerging AI Dilemmas in Scholarly Publishing" from none other than a COP, Committee of. Wait, can you expand COPE for me, please? It's blanking on
the Committee on Publishing
Ethics.
Ethics.
Yeah, right. Right. So this is the title, and it's a discussion about the ethical challenges that AI presents in scholarly publishing. So AI is, Tony, increasingly integrated into research publishing processes, from all the way from the manuscript ideation, drafting, all the way up to peer review and publishing. And transparency about AI use is essential for maintaining intellectual honesty. And there's a need for standardized AI use guidelines across journals and disciplines, and publishers should develop dynamic policies to keep pace with AI advancements. And the current AI detection tools have limitations like biases and false positive rates. So all of this is summarized neatly, as always, by COPE, and it's an excellent read if you are in the field of academic publishing and you're concerned with AI related research integrity or academic integrity flags. Any thoughts on this, Tony?
Now, we've spoken about the sort of documents that COPE produces before, and the sort of guidelines and advice that they provide. This is excellent. Every publisher, everybody who's interested in how AI should be used within scholarly publishing should read this. In fact, in a way, this kind of feeds into our responsible AI movement that we've been developing, where we are urging authors, research institutions, universities, publishers to try and set standards about how AI should be used, and responsible use of AI. What is best practice? And I think this is this particular article feeds directly into that need.
Right. Ready for quick hits?
Go for it.
All right, so this is a very interesting article. I thought this deserved to be a full story, but we are not a tech podcast. But so I'll explain this. So this is titled
Thank God.
Interconnected Multiplayer AI Chat and Conversation Turn Taking, Sharing What We Learned. So this is a blog by Matt Webb, and this blog article explores the intricacies of creating natural multiplayer AI chat interactions. I mean, like how multiplayer games are, but multiplayer AI chat interactions. So what do I mean by that? Let's assume, Tony, that you are chatting with ChatGPT right now. There is ChatGPT and there's you. What if you could chat with Gemini, ChatGPT, and let's say Claude in one chat? And what if I could join you in the chat? And the entire system needs to know who's speaking and whose queries what, and needs to prioritize how to engage with all these interactions. And that's what this is about. And the reason why I put it on our agenda is because this is exactly what the future would be for many academic publishing workflows, including those for having this expert AI ad agent that is attached to a paper that would be interacting with many readers, for example, or for that matter, a peer reviewing assistant workflow like the ones that we are developing, where there will be more than, let's say, two or three artificial intelligence agents or large language models doing simultaneous peer review to provide insights to the peer reviewer. So all of this is a fascinating sort of direction that the technology would take us, and I am curious to know what you think about it.
Well, first of all, I like the fact that they're calling it multiplayer because that's easier to understand in my non-tech brain than agentic.
Yeah.
I mean, I was at a conference recently with another vendor, and they were talking about using up to 10 different AI
Yeah.
bots as part of the conversation. The challenge there is how they engage and how they interact, and what you're going to get what your outcome's going to be. So I think there's a lot of experimentation and testing has got to happen. But if it increases the quality of the output, then great, bring it on.
Yep. All right, moving on to the next one. This is AI slop, but from a different slice, from an HR perspective. So the resume is dying, and AI is holding the smoking gun. So this article is from Ars Technica, and it explores how AI is transforming the job application process and diminishing the significance of resumes, because anybody can make a resume and claim whatever they want to claim. There's very little gatekeeping in this, and it highlights the challenges faced by employers and job seekers as AI technologies generate overwhelming volumes of applications, leading to a systemic shift in hiring practices. So the one angle that I did not cover is that many organizations have already resorted to screening of resumes by AI itself, and the AI would then pick up the right candidates, and that also means that you have very little chance of getting through, because everybody is pretty much making the same resume that you're making, because you're all making using AI. So this is becoming an increasing problem, and the reason why I put it up, it is related to the academic publishing crisis from paper mills and generally AI slop being found in research papers. What are your thoughts on this?
Well, this is again something that can be gamified. We've had conversations about how in computer science, for example, certain authors were inserting queries into papers to make them more likely to be passed in peer review by some AI peer review tool, because of the way the sentences are structured. And surely this is exactly the same. If you can use AI is being used to sort of create a generic super CV, a super resume that is becoming increasingly difficult to screen. Bringing it back to the area that we're working in, what authors need to be able to do is to sort out the wheat from the chaff. To find out which papers, which manuscripts are worthy of going through to peer review, and that requires good, efficient, rigorous screening. So I'm all in favour of introducing screening tools. Like I think we talked about this particular one they're talking about was Chipotle's avocado tool, which has been used to speed up hiring. We have tools like that to screen academic content.
Mm-hmm.
I'm fully in favour of that because we're seeing it working. Publishers are using these tools more. Universities are increasingly interested in introducing these tools to support their researchers. So AI is going to be used more and more. There needs to be tools to be able to counter and to monitor how the AI is being used and to screen the output.
Yeah, one other point, Tony, that I had is that the author suggests using strategies such as live problem solving sessions, etc., to sort of screen for whether the resume is from a genuine person who's interested in the job. So, do you think there is a scope for publishers to use something like this to verify whether the author is genuine?
Uh, I don't. I would have thought so.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, why not? We need to be able to screen the author. We talked earlier on about the importance
Yeah.
of screening authors, and there needs to be some kind of author disambiguation tool, so it's absolutely clear who that author is, and there's honesty in that information.
Yeah, and I mean, the related question is that would that create a barrier for authors to want to publish to a publisher who has
It,
tried to?
why would it create? It might create a barrier for the dishonest author, someone who's trying to deceive the system. But for the honest author, absolutely not. The honest author with honest research, with good research, valid research, has got nothing to be afraid of.
Right, in terms of a procedural step, I understand that they will
No,
pass.
not at all, not
Yeah,
at all, because they shouldn't have to deal with that.
right.
It's up to the content receiver to validate who the author is. They might the content receiver, the publisher, the
Mhm.
preprint, whoever it might be, might ask questions just to confirm who the author is.
Right.
But what's the author got to be afraid of? Absolutely not.
Right, excellent point. And the last couple of, I think, three more quick hits. This AI is outranking humans as top software bug hunter. So this was a future that was always on the verge of
Yeah.
being a reality. So the bug hunting is better done by AI, and it's not a surprise. And the only reason why we are talking about is bug hunting can be equated to flaw hunting in, let's say, peer review or any other such workflows. And eventually, AI will have to come in and at least assist the humans, and there should always be human oversight, of course, because coding is an especially conducive sort of medium or language for AIs to do really well in, but maybe not for natural language text. So, your thoughts on this? As in, would you see a future where, I guess, study quality checking is completely automated?
I don't know about that. I
Hmm.
think there's still be the brain still needs to be used in some way. But yeah, anything that can accelerate the process, that can maintain the quality and still ensures that the student is learning,
Mm-hmm.
then I'd be interested to see how that would evolve. I mean, just go back to this story though. I mean, if there's a story that validates the use of AI, I would absolutely think this is a really, really good use of AI
Mm-hmm.
in terms of using technology to assess the technology. But there still need to be human guardrails to
Right.
make sure that what the bugs that are being reported are correct.
And you know what, Tony? Google agrees with you because Google has unveiled a Gemini CLI and open source AI tools for terminals. Terminals are the places where coders code, like a MS-DOS command prompt, and they have you added an advanced AI feature that'll help people code things faster. And this is,
Yeah.
as you rightly said, this is the best way to use AI, especially in coding and everything. So Google is making advances in this. And the last one, it's a very sort of interesting story because we have a lot of clients from Japan. So this is a BBC Future article. Can AI speak the language Japan tried to kill? So we are talking about the preservation of the Ainu language, if I'm not mispronouncing it. Is this right, Tony? Do you know the right
I
pronunciation?
have got no
Yeah,
idea.
yeah.
I've not heard of it before.
Yeah, so which is critically endangered. The Ainu people are indigenous to Japan, primarily in Hokkaido, and have faced cultural erasure. And the language was almost wiped out due to past Japanese government policies, and this language has only a few native speakers left. And projects involving digitizing old recordings and using AI to learn and replicate the language are underway. There is skepticism within the Ainu community about AI's accuracy. As always, everybody should be skeptical until we know that AI can be almost 100% accurate. AI's use could help raise awareness and preserve the cultural heritage. This I would say that this is even a better application of artificial intelligence in terms of preserving old languages. We have only very few active languages left, and we need all the language to support all the history that we have, cultural, social, whatnot. What are your thoughts,
Yeah.
Tony?
I couldn't agree more. I think anything that will help us to better understand history, I should be applauded. And I think, and this is a good use of AI.
Yeah.
As long as you've got, and because it keeps languages alive. I'd love to be able to hear what
Mhm.
Etruscan Italian was like, or Roman Latin was like, from 8,000 years ago
Right,
compared to
right.
what it is today. No, yes, I do think this is a great thing.
So we have spoken it all, Tony. We are at the end of episode 87, watching the detectives, and we did not explain to a potential listener, viewer, where they can find all the 86 episode, including this one, 87th episode
Right.
now. Yeah.
Well, it's to say each episode's about half an hour long. So if you've got however many hours, 43 hours spare, um, you can go to YouTube and you can see all 86 previous episodes of PubShorts on our PubShorts channel, on the Inago PubShorts channel. And I would encourage you to press like or to share with your colleagues, and even make comments within this in the suggestions for future topics for PubShorts. We welcome any ideas that you may have. And I apologise in advance if I sound congested. I've got this summer cold, which makes my voice sound slightly less loud than normal.
Well, you promote our own channel like a millennial or a Gen Z. So I'm so proud of you, Tony, and thank you for promoting our channel, regardless of your voice. And until the next episode, this is a shaking head Tony and a smiling KK saying goodbye. We will see you in the next one. Bye bye.
See you next one.